Hello, welcome to Rose Menagerie. Today we are going to talk about journals and what place they can have in your homeschool classroom as well as the traditional classroom too. Stay tuned. Okay, so I have been toying with the idea of how to share this information about, well, honestly, my love of utilizing journals in teaching. We used journals whenever I taught in the public school system. I taught first graders and third graders, and I just love journals. They had so many uses outside of just traditional writing. And we'll talk a little bit about that here in a second, but they're just a great tool. And so I actually went and I did a really quick Google search, and I found an article which I'll put below that kind of gives some thoughts about why journals are so great for kids to have. And I think it was kind of more so for the older kids, but this also is great for younger kids as well. In fact, when I was in kindergarten, maybe in first grade, and the school that I went to, every morning we had a prompt that we would draw about in our journal, and then our teacher would come back and she'd write details and whatever the question may be, and she might have had us dictate what we wanted her to write in our journals for us. I remember that just being such a great simple thing that I even do with my boys now, and just really exciting for a little kid. Before I share these thoughts though, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. Feel free to chat with me in the comments. All those things help with our channel growing. So like I said, this article that I found, I literally just Googled it really quickly to try to get some ideas of things to share, but I want to go through some of the things that they had said and kind of chat about that. So the first thing they say is that journals inspire and connect learning, which definitely, yes. I know a lot of times when we're doing our science or even math things, writing, just all kinds of stuff, they're able to take what they're chewing on through our discussions and stuff, and then kind of throw it up on paper. That's not a very good analogy. But say, for example, in this one right here, we read a story. I don't know if you can even read that. But we read the story, and the two main characters kind of get into trouble. And so the question was, what happened to Button and Geraldine in our story today? And for Connor here, he wrote what he thought happened because he didn't make the connection of what actually happened. So that would just be a simple way for me to be like, okay, so he did not quite get what the story was talking about today. So when we go to the story again the following day, we can review more and try to make those connections for him, if that makes any sense. Another thing here says that builds confident students. So journals aren't traditionally graded. They're allowed to use their actual voice in them. For now, I don't grade their journals. A lot of times we will do activities and then just glue them into their journal. So this right here, he did a word creating worksheet, and you could grade this if you wanted to, but I chose to kind of use this as a portfolio in a way too. So that's just stuck in there. There's no grading going on in here, so it's just, and they enjoy writing the journal because it's their journal, you know? This next one said provide a cathartic experience so they can get their emotions on paper. So as they're reading a story, maybe they don't like what happened to the character, or just those feelings can come out. I think that would be a big thing for older kids. That would be a really great thing to think about. You can get to know your student/child better. Definitely saw this a lot in public school, and then also with my kids even here at the house. You're going to learn more about their heart through their writing and their drawing. You can use them as learning tools, so to assess what they're understanding or not understanding, and then to be able to rectify those thoughts, those thinking processes. You can track their improvement. So for example, here is his journal from the very beginning of the year. And this was when we were in Michigan, and he was writing about what he saw when we went tubing. And as you can see, there's no writing at all, like, of his, and like the pictures, how they're not very descriptive or anything. Even right here with this one, just kind of the messy coloring and stuff. So this is at the beginning of the school year. So if we take a journal from the end of the school year, and I should have probably tagged these before we started, but I didn't. And actually, I don't think I had them start writing with this yet. I think I just started having them write with their like Hobbit that we're doing. But here's a good one right here. So you can see he started trying to write some words, and his coloring is improved. His writing is improved with these letters and things. So you can kind of see, like, our boys did pre-K last year, so you're not going to see a huge amount of progress. But even like here, writing these words, he did such a good job writing those words on that. In the beginning of the year, he was having difficulty even just creating letters, so that's huge. And then you can check their recall, that you allow them to reflect on what they're reading about and learning. And then just for themselves, they can kind of get an ability to be able to reflect on their own, especially in the older grades when they're reading more advanced literature, or like things about certain like characters and what they're going through. Maybe it's like civil rights or a war or something like that. Then they can kind of get to feel like take a walk in that character's shoes, basically. So those are all great things. They're just wonderful, and I would encourage you to definitely think about incorporating them into your homeschooling or in your classroom. Whenever I taught in the classroom, I used just these regular old composition notebooks. Some years I even had them cut in half, and so they were just like a mini composition. And like my students would have one for reading, one for math, and then normally my science social studies kind of was like half of it was social studies, half of it was science. And we put all kinds of stuff in their journals, especially like for the easiest thing I'm thinking about is like for science, because it kind of just leads to journaling. But like their thoughts on what we're talking about, or like the experiment that we're doing, they can make, you know, predictions and stuff. You could even get like super into it and go to Pinterest and find like search journal foldables or journal activities for different things. And like you can do all kinds of cool things. Even with my first graders, we would like create pockets, and then if we were doing like pips on dice or on dominoes, we would then like make a little pocket and put our little paper dominoes inside of it, and then they could easily turn to that page, pull out those dominoes, and they could practice memorizing their pips. Or flashcards, or if we're doing clocks, we could make a clock on there with movable hands, and they could practice with that with their little flashcards. Like there's just so many things you can do within the journal. With my boys entering kindergarten this year, I have not done a lot of that fun kind of fine motor type thing. Most of ours have just been reflecting on the text, drawing. Here, like we did the symphony last year, and so this is how you play an oboe. And so he drew the oboe, and then he told me how to play it. I tape in our like assessments and activities that we do. I will put like, here's an art project that we did, and then we talked about the life cycle of butterfly. So we did do a little bit of advanced journaling right there. What? Let's see. We'll do pictures. Whatever we're working on, I'll take pictures of sometimes and put them in there as well. You can literally do anything. We actually put a real life leaf in there. Trying to just go through and grab like these fun things. And right here, we worked on letter T, and it's got 2 worksheets. We just folded, and you can see them both just by lifting that up. Yeah, just really anything. What I chose to do last year is we would do a science kind of spread once every 2 weeks. We would do a writing, like to the reading, whatever we're reading about. or what's going on in our life. We would do at least 2 or 3 of those a week. Like, for example, this one right here. How did the woodsman tell the truth in our story? So just simple retell. And then we were doing letter recognition and recall. So we would do worksheets and just tape them in here. We would do those 3 times a week typically. We did our music once a week, and then we would do either symphony or a separate like art lesson we would do in here. So it kind of just take turns. And then what I chose to do, you don't have to do this, but you can if you want to. At the end of the term, I just went in and, that's where I could focus. I made a table of contents and just stuck it in there. So it's easy to access later on. You know, for them, with this being like pre-K, it may not end up mattering for anything, but it's a good habit to get into and for them to see with their journals. These I got off of Amazon, and I can link them below as well. These were great, and what I ended up doing was I color coded them, and so each term they got a new one, and now we have 8 different journals that we did for their pre-K year. For this year, I bought them this sketchbook. This is an ERIN CONDREN sketchbook, and I uploaded my own graphics for the covers. So that's, if you went there, you would be able to see it. But what I like, it's just their sketchbook. So what I like about this paper is thicker. It's the ERIN CONDREN paper. So if you're familiar with their paper, you know how amazing it is. But you can like sketch on this. You can watercolor in this. So I don't know if I'm going to end up needing 2 of them. I'm guesstimating that I'll only need this one. I have a feeling it's going to get really big. So this year is kind of be a basically experimental year. We're just going to try it and see how I like it. I think I'm going to love it, but we shall see. But you can do something like this too, or you can just do a regular spiral notebook. That's what I did when I was in kindergarten. Really just whatever works for you. I have found that with littles, if you have a smaller space, they don't feel as overwhelmed to fill the space. So that's kind of why I lean more toward these smaller things, which this is basically the same size. It's just a little bit smaller, so that's not such a big deal. Like the spirals tend to be a little bit bigger, so something you can think about. But yeah, really, I truly enjoy them, and the boys also enjoy looking back and seeing what they did and talking about them and sharing them with family and stuff. So hopefully this has been an encouragement to you, and that you will incorporate journals into your classroom or your homeschooling this year. Let me know in the comments below, like, do you have any ideas of how you could use these, or maybe some questions as to what you think, or what could you use them for, what subjects? I'd love to have that conversation. And I think that's it. Like I said before, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll catch you on the next one. Oh, I forgot to tell you, you probably already saw him, but Pikachu decided to join us today, so be sure to say hi to Pikachu too. All right, y'all, be blessed.